I do want to go ahead and choose my next book. I don't know that I'll start it tonight. I still need to get like a shower, and we have to go into town tomorrow and such. So I just want to have it ready though and know what I'm reading tomorrow when I get back from town. So probably won't even start the next book till tomorrow afternoon sometime. But let's go ahead and see what we got. So I'm really hoping for N11 because that will give us our Hunny. So I'm really hoping for that, but we'll just have to see what we get. N1 has been really popular this round of the Winnie the Pooh Hunny. So let's go ahead and we'll do this one. Okay, well I see a 3, so it's not N1. It's H3. So let's see, and we of course have nothing in the H column. And the only one in that row is the free space. But H3 is going to be audio or digital book. I do have a digital book that I've been saving in case this prompt came up. So I can definitely read that. It's called Good Different, I want to say. And it is, what is it? June's pick for Autism Reads, which is put on by Christine and an autistic reader. It's told in verse, so, and I think it's a middle grade, so it should go really, really, really quickly. So that's a great choice. And I could also potentially start an audiobook while I'm in town tomorrow, but I don't think I really, really want to do that because I can listen to it while I'm in town, but I have my other physical books and such I want to read, and I don't have an audiobook that's on my TBR at all. So I think I'm going to go with that digital choice. And I don't remember the author, but of course it will be on the screen here. And like I said, it should go really, really quickly. So that will be what I'm reading next. And of course, I will check back in with you when I'm done with it. And I should be able to fly through it. So hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, I'll be picking another book. So I'll check in with you in just a moment. All right, it is the morning of Wednesday, June 26th, and I did finish Good Different. And that's by Meg Eden Kuyatt, I want to say is how you pronounce the last name. Absolutely amazing. I loved it. I read it digitally and immediately had to order a physical copy. Like, out of all our reads for Autism Reads, which again is put on by Christine and an autistic reader, channel link down below, this one was probably my favorite. It is a middle grade, but not only did it kind of take me back to being in 7th grade and such, but it also, like, I could relate to it today as well. I loved it. It had different types of autism representation because her grandpa is autistic, and then her mom is very like high masking autistic, and so you see like those different, the way it can present differently both in male female, and and even from her mom to her. And I just loved it. It had, bullying in the school, but also really good, like, it had both sides. So you had a really good supportive teacher and kind of a teacher that would call her out and kind of pick on her a little bit. And then you also had really good supportive friends and friends that weren't so supportive. So I absolutely loved it. If you're looking for a good autistic book, this is definitely one. And then she includes like her favorite stuff that helps her, like weighted blankets and such, and then also different books as well. And so it's a really good book. So whether you are autistic, you have an autistic child, you just want to understand autism a little bit more, it's fantastic. It's told in verse, so it's a really interesting format as well, but obviously giving 5 stars. But before I head into town to get groceries and such, I did want to go ahead and pick my next book. So when I get home, get the groceries all put away, I can just dive right in. So again, we're still hoping for that N1 right there, because that's the only place that we're even close to a Hunny. And so I'm hoping for some short books today, so maybe I could get 2 or 3 in if I get some of the shorter ones. But let's go ahead and see what fate has in store for us today. Or the honey jar, I guess. We'll do this one. I see a 5, which doesn't really help me out any, and it's Y5. Like, so the 5. Okay. So we have the Y column here, and number 5 is least read genres. So we'll have to see what's over there. But yeah, I'm gonna go look at my books and I will be right back. Alright, so I didn't even grab extra options because there was one book that stood out. The rest I do read semi-frequently, or the one book I don't. And I didn't realize it till I was putting the tape on, but this actually gets us really close to a Hunny on the diagonal. We just need H1. And I should be able to pick another book today because I'm going to be reading the first volume of Spy Family by Tatsuya Endo. And so obviously a manga should go really quickly. I should be able to get home and knock this out and then choose another book. And yeah, I'm really excited about this. This has been on my radar for a very long time. I have the first 2 volumes. I just got the first 2 because I wanted the second one in case I absolutely loved it, but I didn't want to get more just in case I didn't. I think I am though. I did watch like the first episode of the manga the other night, or the anime rather, because my husband has like a Crunchyroll subscription, which is all anime. And so I gave it a try and I thought it was really cute. So basically, you have Twilight, and he gets a job. He's a spy and he gets a job to go undercover into the school. And so he needs a family. And so he adopts a girl, not knowing that she's like a telepath, and then ends up with a wife who's an assassin. So you kind of have like this fake family, but they all have like obviously the little girl knows, because she's a telepath, she knows that Twilight is a spy and her mom's an assassin, but they don't know about each other. And so yeah, I'm really, really excited for this. I can't wait to dive in. So I will check back in once I have completed this, and then we'll see what else I'm reading today. This was excellent, both getting me closer to a Hunny, which I did not expect. I thought, oh, there's another one that no chance, and then I'm really, really excited for this as well. So I will be right back. All right, it's about 4 o'clock, still on, what is it, Wednesday afternoon, I think the 26th, I want to say. And I did finish Spy Family. I had a feeling I would love this, and I wasn't wrong. Like, absolutely adorable. I was curious kind of how the assassin and the spy came together, and it came together like in a really cute way, and made sense for the story and everything like that. And yeah, I absolutely adored this. The humor was perfect for me. I don't find like a lot of things funny, but this was the perfect type of humor for me. I like how like kind of cynical he is and such. And he keeps kind of doing things off kilter because of the kid and now his wife. And yeah, just absolutely adorable. I'm really glad I do have the second one. I'm definitely going to be trying to get to it within the next couple months. So this was definitely a win. And it was nice, because like I said, I had to go to town this morning to get some groceries. And it's so funny because I have my service dog, and because it's hot, I'm in New Mexico, and it's over 100 degrees. And so even in the mornings, like it's super hot, and so I have to put little booties on her to protect her feet from the asphalt and such. And people just absolutely lose their minds when they see a dog with boots. But it was a really good day. Like even the people that kind of talked to me, like they talked to me and not like her, which was great. We had a kid try to run up to her, and the mom handled that perfectly. And so normally grocery shopping excursions are really rough for me, but today it really wasn't. I had music in, and yeah, even with all the interactions because of her boots, like people were just great. I had a lady come up and ask if she could take a picture, which is great, instead of just taking a picture on her own, which some people will do, and that's not okay. She asked, and so that was really good. And got our groceries, so that's off my to-do list, and I don't have to stress about that anymore. But yeah, it was nice to come home and just have such a light, quick, and easy read. So this is what we're looking at. So we either want H1 or N11. Those two will give us honeys. I think that's the only spot right now. So yeah, that's kind of what we're hoping for. Even U1, because that will put us in line for another honey if we get H1 or N11. So that wouldn't hurt too if we got U1. So we're hoping for column or row 1 rather. We're hoping for row 1. So let's go ahead and pull our next book. I'm hoping again there's a children's book over there. There's a couple others that are super short. So I'm hoping for one of those. That way I can hopefully read it and then choose another one today. Let's go ahead. We'll do this one. Kind of hopped into my hands. Okay, I see a 4. Not looking good. And so this is Y4. So another one in the Y column. Awesome. And this is a free choice. So we have the Y column, 1, 2, 3, 4. So even though that doesn't help us as far as the honey, free choice is really good. So I'm going to go pick a couple options that are on my radar, and I will be right back. All right, so I picked 3 of my shorter options. Like I said, then I can fly through them and pick another one tonight. So the first one that I think I'm going to eliminate right off the bat, though, is Forrest Gump by Winston Groom. Well, not by Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was in the movie. Forrest Gump was, obviously, the movie was a big part of my childhood. We would quote it all the time. And I've never read the book, so this would be good. It's really quite short. It's just over 200 pages. And so yeah, that's a contender, or it was, but like I said, I'm going to eliminate it right off the bat. The next one I do need to get to because it's for my TBR game and for Orilium, an Orilium prompt, and that's The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. Another one that I've seen the movie, enjoyed the movie, and would love to read the book. So this is another one. This one is, let's see here, has discussion questions. Let's see. So this one's about 300 pages. Just slightly 302 pages, so a couple pages over. But still, I think that will be a fairly quick read. And the last one that I'm actually leaning towards is The Maze of Bones by Riordan. This is book 1 in the 39 Clues series. And this is I think it might be a middle grade, but it might be a children's. I don't know exactly what age range, but obviously a younger book. And so it's going to be really quick and easy to read. And I should be able to finish this one probably before I even feed the dogs for the evening. It's about 4 o'clock right now. So about an hour and a half till their dinner time. So actually I think I'm going to choose this, and that way I can maybe get it knocked out and then pick something else for tonight that I can read this evening, and then maybe tomorrow morning, depending on which book I get. So yeah, I'm going to go with Maze of Bones by Riordan. And each one in the series has a different author so far. Like, I'm sure they repeat later on in the series. I don't know how many books there are. I have the first 6. It says, what would happen if you discovered that your family was one of the most powerful in human history? What if you were told that the source of the family's power was hidden around the world in the form of 39 clues? What if you were given a choice, take $1 million and walk away, or get the first clue? If you're Amy and Dan Cahill, you take the clue and begin a very dangerous race. So I've heard good things about this series, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that's my pick. I will check back in shortly. All right, it's about 9 o'clock, still on Wednesday the 26th, and I'm only not quite halfway on The Maze of Bones. I'm almost 200 pages. Well, I'm about 80 pages, and I think there's 220 pages. But we're gonna kind of go into bed early. A storm's moving in, and so we just want to get the dogs all settled and everything. But I'm probably gonna finish this one now that we're going to bed. I kind of zoned out a little bit. We had dinner, and then just kind of I watched some YouTube and such. So I didn't read obviously as much as I planned to this evening. But now that we're gonna be in the bedroom, I'm not gonna be watching anything. I should be able to fly through this. And I did want to go ahead and choose my next book to hopefully start tonight. But I'll probably read the bulk of it tomorrow, honestly. Probably go to bed a little bit early. So again, we're hoping for either H1, N11, or now there's a couple spots where we are 2 away. I think the Y column we're 2 away here, and then the 4th row we're 2 away as well down here. So any of those would be good. But let me go ahead and pick our next book here. I'm hoping for a honey. Let's do this one. Okay, I see a 5, so that doesn't really help us at all. So H5. So yeah, let's see here. Okay, this is a good one. So we have the H column here, and this one is most read genres. So let me go see what I have left over there, and I'll be right back. All right, so there was only really one option because the rest are more middle of the road genres for me. So just like my least read genre, there was only really one option. So I'm going to be reading A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This will be good because I do need to read it for Orilium. And then I think that only leaves one more book that I need to read for Orilium, which is fantastic because my goal was to have the books for the Novice Path and my background read by the end of June, kind of have a month off in July, and then be ready for the autumn equinox in August. Of course, Williams put on by G at Book Roast, and channel will be linked down below. So yeah, I'll be reading A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, and this is book 1 of the Schoolomance series, or lesson 1 as it says on the front. And I know this kind of has mixed reviews, so we'll see how I do with it. But it says, comes the story of an unwilling dark sorceress who is destined to rewrite the rules of magic, fantasy obviously being one of my most read genres. It says, enter a school of magic unlike any you have encountered. There are no teachers, no holidays, friendships are purely strategic, and the odds of survival are never equal. Once you're inside, there are only 2 ways out. You graduate or you die. Ella Higgins is uniquely prepared for the school's many dangers. She may be without allies, but she possesses a dark power strong enough to level mountains and wipe out untold millions. Never mind easily destroy the countless monsters that prowl the school. Except she might accidentally kill all the other students too. So Ella's trying her hardest not to use it. That is, unless she has no other choice. So we'll see how I get along with it. I did read Spinning Silver by this author, and I liked it okay. I didn't love there were so many point of views, but the writing I enjoyed. The point of views was a bit much, so we'll see how I get along with this one. So like I said, I'm going to finish it up 39 clues. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't love it. It's a bit extra, like as far as like dramatic and such for me. But obviously, I mean, it's entertainment for kids. They probably need a little extra sometimes. But yeah, I am enjoying it, and so I'm excited to continue on. And then hopefully start this one tonight, and then I'll probably read this throughout the day tomorrow. I'll probably check in tomorrow, first thing, and let you know my thoughts on the Maze of Bones. And yeah, I'll check with you in a moment. All right, it's the morning of Thursday, June 27th, and I did finish The Maze of Bones by Riordan. I ended up going with 3 stars on this one. It was fun, fast paced, but it just wasn't very believable. And there's just things that were just kind of left open ended, like there is. So basically, they have the choice to either take $1 million. Their grandma dies. The 2 main characters, Amy and Dan, their grandma dies. And then there's a whole big extended family. And so they have the choice to either take $1 million or get a clue and start on this kind of like scavenger hunt following these clues. And it's just like, it doesn't address, like, they don't get any type of inheritance past the $1 million. It's like, well, what about her other stuff? Like, there's a cat, which they do end up with, but not because it was given to them. Like, there's this cat and her house and all her stuff, and it's like, it doesn't address what's going to happen to them. And I get, I'm not the target demographic. This is probably like a younger middle grade, and I get, I'm just not the target demographic. But I read a fair amount of children's and middle grade books, and just because it's for that age range doesn't mean it, you know, doesn't need to be good, you know? And so it just doesn't address, like, those little things, like, okay, like, is that just going to be in limbo? I mean, stuff happens that kind of makes it mute point anyway, but it's just, like, not fully explained, which kind of frustrated me. And then the main characters feel like they're 14 and 11, and they kind of feel like they're highly intelligent, and so it makes it a little bit more believable that they're kind of going on this grand adventure. But they're also, like, their Aunt Beatrice is their ward, their great aunt, I think, is their ward. But, like, they live on their own with just an au pair, and, like, now she's gonna disown them, and they're expected to do this quest, and it's like, and yeah, it kind of explains, well, we need an adult, so they get their au pair, but their au pair's a teenager, and she's renting cars and flying them across seas, and, like, that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, that's not how this works. And so I think, and they have two cousins that are the exact same age as them, and they're like these assassins trying to kill them and stuff, and like the whole family, like the extended family that's part of this, is trying to kill them. And I get, like, it's high stakes and such, but, like, all the adults are trying to kill these kids. Like, not all the adults are gonna have no conscience. Like, come on. And it's just a little bit over the top. Like, you definitely have to suspend disbelief in reading this. And so I didn't enjoy that aspect. Like, it just, to me, it wasn't well done. I think if the au pair had been, like, older, like early 20s, it would have worked better. Early to mid 20s, it would have been more believable on that aspect. And then also the two cousins, if maybe they had been a little bit older, but they're 14 and 11 too, and they're acting like these 20-something assassins. And they don't act like the age, you know? And so that's where it got rough for me. I still had a great time. I still plan on continuing the series. It's a fun series. And I have the first 6 books, so I definitely will continue to read it. But yeah, it was just like, no, like, this is not good writing. And this is the first time I read Rick Riordan. And I know he's, like, popular for the Percy Jackson series and such, but it's like, no. And the others are written by different authors, but the premise has already been set, so you already have these characters that are these ages. So I don't know how much different authors is going to help or not, but it'll be interesting to see. So that's kind of my thoughts on 39, the first one in the 39 Clues series. I will say I did like, it has, like, a historical figure component to it, which I think each one's going to have that. And so this one had Benjamin Franklin, and then it also dealt with the catacombs in Paris. And I did really, really like that, especially for that age range, because it can get them interested in looking up that historical figure or, like, the catacombs in Paris and such. So I did really enjoy that historical aspect. And the next one has Mozart, so that's going to be really interesting as well. I did start A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I only read, like, 23 pages, so I'm not very far in. I think there's, like, 290 pages left, so I'm hoping my brain can focus. I don't feel great today. I typically don't after I have to go into town. The day after is normally pretty rough for me, and so the saving grace is we got rain last night, which is much needed. I'm in the desert. We don't get a lot of rain, and we had a nice thunderstorm for a good solid few hours, so that was nice. It's overcast today, which always helps me because the sun just so bright it just gets to me, and so that should help me, and I'm hoping I can just focus. I'm gonna just kind of chill the day until it's dinner time, and then I'll take care of, you know, the dishes and dinner, but past that I'm not planning on doing anything else today other than reading. So I really hope I can fly through this. I did struggle a little bit, but I don't know how much of it was I was just kind of tired. But those first 23 pages, like I was having to reread stuff, like the writing style, just there's parts that I was like, wait, what did I just read? Like the way things are phrased and such, I had to reread. It's interesting, the premise of it so far, but yeah, we'll just have to see. So I will check back in when I have finished that one. All right, it is just after 1 on Friday the 28th, and I have finished A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I don't think like the premise of the book that things were fully explained, or maybe I just didn't fully understand them. Basically, you have these kids, and there's these monsters in the world that are attracted to the mana. And so they created this school for these kids, and originally it was for like the higher ups. There's enclaves, which are there's the New York enclave and like such, which are just kind of powerful communes of these people. Um, Originally it was for them, but the monsters ended up getting in, so then they opened it up to like all the students that have magic, to kind of balance it out, so like those students would get eaten instead of the enclave students. So there's kind of like this power balance, but there's no teachers in the school, and that's the part I don't understand. And I might have missed something, but I don't understand why there's no teachers, because the creatures are attracted to the mana, and when you're that age, that teenage age, that's when your mana is kind of at its peak, and so they're attracted to that. They're not really attracted to like the established wizards or whatever. And before that, you're too young and you just don't have enough that they care. So yeah, I didn't really understand why there's no teachers in the school, but there's not, and the school kind of runs itself. It's a little bit sentient, and it assigns the courses and the homeworks and such, the quizzes and whatnot, projects. And so yeah, that was kind of interesting. Like you have all these monsters. The plot, like you really don't know what the plot is until towards the end, and graduation's coming up. And so when the seniors graduate, they kind of have to go out, but that's where like the bulk of the monsters are. And so you have this golden boy character. He is an enclave kid, but he kind of special. The monsters don't really go after him, and he gets mana from them when he kills them. And so he's kind of like the golden boy, and he's saved a lot of kids in his year. And so that kind of plays into what the plot actually is, but you don't know that. And so the whole first part, you're just kind of like, what the heck is going on? And so yeah, it felt kind of like it plodded along, and there's just something about the writing. Like I did struggle a little bit. I read Spinning Silver by this author, and I thought it was just because there were so many point of views that I struggled a little bit with the writing. But I think it's just this author's writing style. I don't know, like the way she phrased things and such, it just didn't make sense. And so I had to really pay attention to understand, and I found myself having to reread sections. And so that slowed the reading down because I really had to pay attention. But I did like the atmosphere of this sentient, dark, dangerous, like every day you're struggling to live type school. I like the main character. Like she has all this power, but she's really dangerous. And so she has to really monitor how she uses it. Um, but I really like, there's kind of, you don't meet her mother, but she talks about her mother a lot. So you can tell like that relationship is really close, and that's kind of keeping, because you can do mana or you can do Malia, I want to say is how you pronounce it, which you take power from others and like life forces from others. And so she's always, because of her mother, she's never gone down that dark road. It does kind of end on a cliffhanger, and so you're like, what's gonna happen next? And so yeah, overall I enjoyed like the atmosphere of the characters and such, but it just, the writing I struggled with, and like I said, I don't fully understand like the school, and it's a kind of a confusing school. And it kind of makes things up as it goes, like, but yeah, it got 4 stars because I really did like the atmosphere and the characters, but the writing was a struggle for me, so that's why I didn't get 5 stars. So I think I'm hoping I can get 2 books. I have 3 more books for my official game TBR that I need to read. And then 2 more books. One's an extra, one's for my genre-a-thon. The extra one's actually for Buzzword. So both of those will roll over, but they're not for my game, so they're low priority. So I just have 3. 2 of them are really short. One of them, I'm not sure if it's like a middle grade or young adult, but the main character is 7. I don't think it is actually though. So I have those 3, and like I said, the 2 are pretty short, so I should be able to fly through them. And I'm hoping I get something that will work for them. If I don't, and I get something that's not on my TBR, that's gonna be a little bit rough. But we still need either H1, N1, to get a honey. So H1 here will get a diagonal honey. N1 will get a vertical honey. This bottom, so if we get any of the 2 5s that are left, that gets us closer to a honey. If we get any in the Y column, that gets us closer to a honey. And yeah, so we'll see. I really want a honey, and I really want to get my TBR books on. So let's go ahead and pick the next one. It's 1 o'clock. My brain has been a little bit, but I was also that book I was just struggling with. So I'm hopefully it was the book and not my brain today. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this one. Okay, I see a 4, which that row only has 2, so it's either it's U 4. I was gonna say it's either H or U. Oh no, I don't like this one. It's Goodreads or Storygraph, which I don't think any of the books I have are gonna work for that. Let me show you here. So this is the U column, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and Goodreads or Storygraph. So let me go ahead and see what comes up on either and see what I'm going to be reading next, but I definitely doubt it's going to be anything on my TBR, so I'll be right back. All right, so I went on Goodreads and I found a list that said the book was better than the movie, and because 2 books on my TBR list were movies. We had Forrest Gump by Winston Groom, which of course this is the movie tie-in one, and so you have Tom Hanks there. And then the other one was The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I did have to scroll down quite a bit. I did see several like children's books I have. So I thought, well, nothing else. I could read a children's book because it'll be super quick. So I was thinking either I read like Charlotte's Web, I could reread Where the Wild Things Are, because that one is a picture book, so that would have been really, really quick. But I did end up finding The Secret Life of Bees. I never saw Forrest Gump, which maybe the book's not better than the movie. I don't know. But I did see The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd after I scrolled for a while. This one's perfect because not only is it for my TBR game, and this is the last book I need to read for my Orilium, the Novice Path, and / my background. So I'm glad that I'll be able to officially get this one knocked out before the end of the month. This one is like 302 pages or something like that. And so yeah, it's just over 300 pages. But yeah, I'm excited. I've only seen the movie like once and I did really enjoy it. So I'm excited to see what this one, how it compares anyway. And so it says, set in South Carolina in 1964, The Secret Life of Bees tells the story of Lily Owens, whose life has been shaped around the blurred memory of the afternoon her mother was killed. When Lily's fierce-hearted black stand-in mother, Rosaline, insults 3 of the deepest racists in town, Lily decides to spring them both free. They escape to Tiburon, South Carolina, a town that holds the secret to her mother's past. Taken in by an eccentric trio of black beekeeping sisters, Lily is introduced to their memorizing world of bees and honey and the Black Madonna. This is a remarkable novel about defining female power, a story that women will share and pass on to their daughters for years to come. So that's going to be my read. I'm hoping I can fly through it this afternoon and pick something else for this evening. And we're have another chance at a honey. So if I don't get a honey my next pull, I might go in tomorrow. I was going to plan on just having this be the last day of Winnie the Pooh honey, but I might go ahead and go into tomorrow to try to get that honey because we got 1, 2, 3 spots now where we can get one. So we'll just see, but let's hope my brain cooperates and I can get this read quickly. And I'll be back in just a moment to update you. Alright, it is just after midnight, so I guess technically it is now Saturday, June 29th. But I did finish The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. And overall, I really enjoyed this. It's just the end. It got a little repetitive, and it also got like really angsty and dramatic and like trauma. All at the end. Like the first half, I really liked the pacing. It was more about these characters and everything, which I'm more of a plot-driven story person, but I do like really good characters. And this one was like, you got that Southern life and everything. But then there were several events that happened like boom, 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 and two of them were kind of connected and just seemed like they were done for drama's sake and they didn't really add anything to the story. And I just didn't really like that part of it. And then towards the end, like she finds out some things and she's just like harping on that over and over and she's 14, teenage angst. I know that's probably how she was feeling, but it just got a little bit repetitive. So I ended up going with 4 stars on this one. But I did really enjoy reading it. So there's that. I am going to go ahead and choose one more book. I'm probably not going to read it at all tonight, but I want to have it ready in the morning. So we do have 3 spots. We can get a honey, row 4 down here. Call H1 because that will give us a diagonal honey, or N11 will give us that row honey. So let's go ahead and hope we get one of those. If we don't, I think I'm gonna just keep going until I get a honey. Hopefully I can get one this weekend. I still have 4 books over there too, which are on my official TBR, so I'm hoping I can get prompt that works for one of those. So let's go ahead and do this one. It's a 3, so I'm not gonna get a honey. So N2 and 3. So let's see what that one is. Okay, so we got N2 here, and 1, 2, 3. So that is a middle grade or a children's book. So I don't know that the one book is a middle grade or children's. And like I said, I know it has a main character who's 7, but I don't think it's actually, I think it's for older readers. So I'm going to check that, and I have plenty of children books otherwise to read. So I'm going to go look what I have, and I'll be right back. All right, so yeah, the one book with the 7-year-old main character, I looked it up. It's just classified as historical, so that's not gonna work. Thought about doing like a picture book, but I thought that's probably a little bit cheaty. So I'm gonna do like a children's chapter book, so it's gonna be super easy. And I'm gonna read the Berenstain Bear Scouts Save That Back Scratcher. And this is by Stan and Jan Berenstain. And I had some, not this one, but I had some of the Berenstain books when I was growing up. And so, yeah, it does have like pictures and the writing's pretty big, but it's not like a full on picture book. So I hauled this a little while ago and I just thought it was funny. Save that back scratcher. I love the title. And this is the perfect opportunity to read it because otherwise I probably won't. Because this is so short, I'm going to go ahead and choose my next book as well. And that way I can read both of them, start them first thing in the morning and just kind of see where we're at. So that one got us not any closer, got us where we're two away in two spots, but otherwise it didn't get us any closer. So let's go ahead. I want that honey. That's my goal. I think going forward, since I always have trouble deciding how long to do this, I think I'm just gonna do it until I get a honey or the month kind of finishes up and I don't really have any more books to read. Is how I'm gonna do this game going forward, just because I really have a hard time stopping. Let's see, let's go. There's two stuck together. I can fill this one. Okay, I see, I think two. So H2, which again does not help at all. And so H2 is a book for something you are participating in. So I got two options over there, so let me go grab them and I'll be right back. Okay, so out of the books I have left, I of course have my two TBR book games, but that doesn't count. So I do have my buzzword book still, and that's The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. This has its repeating words for June, and so it has the 3 times. And this has autistic rep, which I love. And the title sounds intriguing, the premise sounds intriguing. The other one's for my own readathon, which is Genreathon, and that's The White Bone by Barbara Gowdy. This is a little bit denser and longer, and with it's 327 pages, but it's a little bit denser, and with only the 2 days left in the month, I'm not going to be reading that one because I really want to get my last 2 game books done so I can, have a reward. So I'm going to go with The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. It says Christopher John Francis Boone knows all the countries of the world and their capitals and every prime number up to 7,057. He relates well to animals but has no understanding of human emotions. He cannot stand to be touched and he detests the color yellow. This improbable story of Christopher's quest to investigate the suspicious death of a neighborhood dog makes for one of the most captivating, unusual, and wildly heralded novels in recent years. And so this one is just over 200, and I know it has like I know I've seen like little math problems and such. It is a little bit denser as well. Like this one has a little math problem on the page there. It is a little bit denser as well, but the only other thing I can do is the new round of Tales from Two Trails has started, and I do have the audiobook for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Strange Cases of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is the group read. And even though it's still June, it's from the 26th to the 25th of the next month. So I could squeeze that in and just get it done early, but I need to read this one anyway. So I'm going to go with this one and just cross my fingers that I can get it done and get started on something else. I will definitely be back though because we did not get a honey. So I'm going to read these two and then I will let you know my thoughts on them. And then hopefully we can get one of those other two on the TBR and get a honey as well because we're so close and I just want a honey. So anyway, I'm gonna head to bed. I'm tired, but these are gonna be my 2 reads for first thing in the morning. I might even start this one tonight because I'm still kind of like a little bit amped up. So we'll see. I'm gonna I haven't finished my review and such of The Secret Life of Bees, so I still need to get all that typed up and whatnot. But that's where we're at, and of course I will check back with you as soon as I finish these 2 books. All right, it is the evening of Saturday, June 29th, and I finished both books. So I started this one last night. I didn't finish it last night, even though it's like super easy children's book. But the Berenstain Bear Scouts saved that back scratcher. This was cute. It wasn't as engaging as I was hoping, but it was really, really cute. So you basically have the Bear Scouts, and their scout leader decides she's gonna run for mayor, and so they get stuck with Mrs. Stickler. So it has like that name, where the name kind of matches whatever. And they get stuck with her, and they have like these other exciting merit badges they want to get. And she's like, "No, you're gonna get a history merit badge." And there's this old tree in the town circle. And then the current mayor, they decide he has kind of like dealings with Ralph Ripoff. So, he's a ripoff. He does shady dealings and such. And they decide, in order to get him to run, they're going to create the super highway and get people to vote for him. But that means cutting down this old tree that's in the town circle that's everybody's back scratcher and is a historical tree, like the 2 generals of the Great Bear Wars, signed a treaty under this tree and then scratched their back to seal the deal and stuff. And so they use that history for the merit badge. And then they save the tree. They come up with a plan to save the tree. It was cute. It just wasn't as engaging. Gave it 3 stars. But yeah, overall not bad. So I did read that one. And then I just finished The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I was on the fence of what to give this. I ended up going ahead and giving it 5 stars, even though there was some problems. Those problems didn't ruin my enjoyment of the story, and the star rating is more kind of how much did I really enjoy this. And so you have this character John, or Christopher John Francis Boone. Sorry, I was like, John's not right. Christopher. And it never explicitly says he's autistic, but he goes to a special needs school. He says he has some behavioral problems. And reading it, it's clear, like, that he's autistic. But the author didn't do any research or anything for this, because I was kind of looking into it a little bit more. He didn't do any research or anything for this book. And so he didn't really put that label on it, which I really wish he had done more research and he hadn't shied away from it. Because he really did capture like the feelings and such, like being overstimulated, overwhelmed, tackling like going to new places and such, like how that feels. He really captured that. And the reason I was gonna go with 4 stars is he does do like the stereotypical boy with autism who loves trains and is like highly intelligent in like mathematics. And that's more of a stereotypical thing. And so I wish he had maybe, found something that he had a special interest in, that he could succeed with, but wasn't necessarily the stereotypical thing. Because, that's a bit frustrating. And if he had done more research, I think he would have been able to create a character like that. And I wish he hadn't shied away from like the autism label. It's not like, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. And so I appreciate how he captured like what it's like to be overstimulated and the meltdowns and such. Like, I appreciate that because that's going to bring more light to it. But I wish he'd done research and hadn't shied away from that label. But even so, like, I really enjoyed the story. You get a dog, neighborhood dog, gets murdered, and he decides he's gonna do some detective work to figure out who murdered this dog. And then his teacher, his special needs teacher, decides, not needs, but education teacher decides, like, encourages him to write a story about it. And so he's writing the story, and that's what you're reading, essentially. And he learns some things along the way, and then that kind of changes, like, the tone of the book, like, midway through. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So that's why I ended up going with 5 stars, even though there were some problematic episodes. And I guess without the author doing research and such, it's probably better that he didn't label the character as autistic or whatnot. It just would have been nice to see that, even though the author himself isn't neurodivergent from what I could tell, just in a deep dive, but just brief research. He's not neurodivergent or anything like that. And so when you have somebody like that writing a story like this and they haven't done their research, it's probably better that he didn't put a label on it, but I wish he had, and he had, not shied away from the label. So anyway, really, really enjoyed that. And so there's that, and now we need to choose what book I'm reading next. I'm hoping it's Forrest Gump over there. Like, I find something that will fit that, because I think I can get that read before bedtime because it's super small and short. So I'm hoping it's that one, but we'll just have to see what I pull. I need either N11 still, H1, H4 would get me a Hunny as well. And I really just want a Hunny. I want to end the month with a Hunny because this is kind of where we're sitting. So we can get a Hunny diagonally here, a Hunny vertically here, or a Hunny horizontally here. So let's see what we get. I'm really hoping. So we want a 1 or a 4. So let's see. And not U1. Let's go ahead and do... I'm trying to grab, they're skirting away. Okay, we do got a 1. So let's see if it's the one I want. Of course it's not. So U1, which is the one that does not help me out of the ones. But it is Shorter's book on my TBR, which is Forrest Gump. So that's going to help me out because that's all that's... I only have 3 books left over there, and Forrest Gump is the shortest one. So that should help me out, but that doesn't give us a Hunny, which makes me really sad. I really wanted a Hunny. But we'll see if I can finish Forrest Gump, and I might continue to play this evening and into tomorrow just to try to chase that Hunny. But let me go grab Forrest Gump, and I'll be right back. All right, so we got Forrest Gump here, and it is only 248 pages, and it's, pretty thin, height-wise and width-wise as well. And so yeah, I'm very familiar with the movie. It was a movie we watched all the time growing up. But it says, being an idiot is no box of chocolates, but at least I ain't led no humdrum life, says Forrest Gump, the lovable, surprisingly savvy hero of this wonderful comic novel. When the University of Alabama's football team drafts Forrest and makes him a star, that's only the beginning. He flunks out and goes on to be a Vietnam War hero, a world-class ping pong player, a wrestler, and a business tycoon. He compares battle scars with Lyndon Johnson, discovers the truth about Richard Nixon, and suffers the ups and downs of true love. Now Forrest Gump is telling all on a madcap screwball romp through 3 decades of the American landscape. It's Gump's amazing travels, and you've got to read them to believe them. So it might be a little bit dated, the idiot comment, so it might be a little bit dated, but I am excited. It was originally published in 1986, so I'm still excited to read this because I never have, and I did enjoy the movie. So I'm going to get to it, and hopefully I can check back with you guys tonight and pick another book tonight, and maybe get money. Cross all your fingers, send the magic through the screen, even though by the time you're watching this, it's over. But yeah, I'm going to get to this, and I'll be right back. Alright, it is still the evening of Saturday, June 29th. Not too much later, actually, because I immediately DNF'd this. I only got 6 pages in, but I figured it would be a bit dated. I figured there would be terminology that wasn't okay, because it was written in 1986, I believe. And so going in, I'm aware of that. I'm aware, the main character, 1986, has mental disabilities and mental handicap, but this was 6 pages of, I'm not kidding you, idiot, R word, called the school the Nut School. The main character is talking about his other classmates in a derogatory term, like not even just calling himself an idiot and R word and such. Like he's talking about his other classmates and how they drool and spasm, and it's just, even for its time, like 6 pages full of that. Like I get, it was a different time. There's gonna be outdated terminology and such. Like I get that. But 6 pages of just derogatory terms and the way they were talking about the other students and such, like it was just not it. Like I don't normally rate books ID enough, especially not a book ID enough so early on. But I went ahead and rated this 1 star because it's not an okay book. Like dated or not, like no. And talking about one fat kid who had a mental handicap as well. Like it's just very derogatory and, like I said, packed full. Not like, okay, the term idiot right off the bat, which it is on the back as well. Being an idiot is no box of chocolates. Like it's on the back as well. So anyway, immediate DNF. Like this book is horrible. Love the movie. I thought the movie was well done, especially reading like The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime and The Secret Life of Bees. You have characters in there that have mental handicaps and are neurodivergent and behavioral issues and all that, and so those were written, I think both Secret Life of Bees was like 2002, I want to say, and The Curious Incident I think was 2003, something like that. I could be wrong. Um, but yeah, they just, those were tastefully done. This one is completely derogatory. It's not just outdated, it's derogatory. So DNF'd that one. And so I was debating because for my game, because that's part of my game TBR, and for that, if I DNF a book, it still counts. Like, it doesn't count against my reward because I don't want to force myself to try to read books that I'm not enjoying. Even if I, DNF it early on, I typically do put the prompt back into the honey jar. But this prompt was a little bit harder because it was Hansel and Gretel and it was sweet candy wrap. And I did that because of the box of chocolate line. So I decided to go ahead and replace that because I was like, I don't know what to do for my game. And so I decided to go ahead and replace that, and it worked for shortest on my TBR, and it covers the prompt. And so I went with Clifford's Halloween by Norman Bridwell. This is one I had as a kid. I had several of the Clifford books, but this was one of them, and I would read it over and over and over. And since it was Halloween, that fits the candy wrap. And it definitely works for the shortest book on my TBR. It was only 30 pages. So I went ahead and read it before I hopped on here. So that fulfills the prompt, and we can now pick another one. So yeah, I love this one. It talks about how love holidays with Clifford. So each has pages for like Christmas and Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving and such, Easter, and then it talks about how Halloween is their favorite. And like they were debating what Clifford should be last year, and he ended up wanting to be a ghost, and then Halloween activities, including trick or treating. And so, yeah, that fulfills the prompt, and it also fulfills the prompt of shortest on my TBR. And I absolutely loved it just as much as I did as a kid. Like, I love the Clifford books. I've been collecting them because I just absolutely adore them. I think for the age range they're made for, they're really enjoyable. And yeah, I absolutely love them. So let's go ahead and pick another one and move on. Like, I don't know, that book, like I knew it was gonna be like have problematic things, but it was just rough. So let's go ahead and go this one. Okay, I see a 5. That's not gonna help us out any. So N2, 5. So okay. So we have N2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is greater than 350 pages. So I'll have to see if either one of my books over there, I only have 2 books left on my TBR, if either one of them is greater than 350. But it's still sad because we still don't have a Hunny. But that gives us another chance for a Hunny. Because now we can get a Hunny in row 5. We just need U5. And we can get a Hunny on N2. So that does work. Let me go ahead and see if either of those are over the 350, and I'll be right back. All right, luckily for me, the book that is part of my game TBR that I did really want to get to is 384 pages. The other one that is on my TBR but not part of my game TBR is only 327, so it wouldn't have worked. But this one does. So this is Moloka'i by Alan Brennert, and this was a complete cover buy. I actually had my stack of books. I was at the thrift store, had my stack of books, and was getting ready to head up. I was just kind of organizing them so I could carry them up to the counter, and I saw this one, and I was like, love that cover. And so I got it, and yeah, I'm excited to read this one. It says, Rachel Kalama, a spirited 7-year-old Hawaiian girl, dreams of visiting far-off lands like her father, a merchant seaman. Then one day, a rose-colored mark appears on her skin, and those dreams are stolen from her. Taken from her home and family, Rachel is sent to Kalaupapa, the quarantine leprosy settlement on the islands of Moloka'i. Here her life is supposed to end, but instead she discovers it is just beginning. Brimming with warmth, humor, compassion, and a vibrant cast of vividly realized characters, Moloka'i is a masterpiece of storytelling about a people who embrace life in the face of death. So, um, yeah, I'm excited to get to this, and it will complete my TBR. I'm hoping I can read a good chunk this evening and then finish it up in the morning if I need to. Because yeah, the writing's not super dense, but pretty dense, and it is 384 pages. So we'll have to see how it goes. But at least this ensures that my game TBR is complete, so I'll at least get a reward for that. Because even if I start this, that counts. So I'm really excited about that. And then the last book will probably just roll over, but I still want to get a Hunny, so I'm gonna try to see if I can squeeze in another book tomorrow. Especially now that we have 4 spots we can get, or 5 spots. 5 spots we can get a Hunny now. The odds are much better that we'll get a Hunny than we won't, but there is still a couple spots where we still won't get a Hunny. So we'll just have to see. I'm gonna go get to reading, and I'll check back in with you when I finish this. All right, it's just shy of midnight on Sunday, June 30th, so last day of the month. And I did finish Moloka'i by Alan Brennert. This book was amazing. It's a historical fiction, but it took a lot of inspiration from actual historical events. Everything I looked up, it's like, ooh, did that really happen? I looked it up and it did. And even I didn't fully read the author's note at the back because I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. And this book, as much as I loved it, it was definitely a little bit slower of a pace. And yeah, I mean, I read all day today, read 100 pages last night at bed, and then read the rest of the day and just barely finished it. But it was amazing. And like I said, I looked up stuff, and then in the author's note, he did take real people from this leper colony. Um, he took real people that he found, like, in archives and such, and real historical events, like the tsunami that happened, World War II, like, it was really good the way he kind of blended it together. Obviously fictional, but he definitely did his research. And yeah, I absolutely love this. Definitely 5 stars. Really emotional at points. Like I said, it does. Almost wish I had taken more time with this and hadn't rushed it so much. Because I definitely felt myself like lagging in interest, especially a moment there towards the middle. But yeah, definitely 5 stars. If you haven't picked this up, I strongly encourage you to, but it is emotional. Um, you know, the main character, Rachel, she develops leprosy, or Hansen's disease, as it later became known, at 7 years old and gets forcibly taken away from her family. Her uncle is in the leper colony, but they refuse to let her live with him. She loses so many people throughout the story, um, and it's just heartbreaking. And then it touches a little bit because her husband, she does end up getting married, and her husband's Japanese, and it kind of touches on the Japanese internment camps and such as well, in the end. So yeah, it was a beautiful story though. Like, I'm so glad I read this. I actually found another book. I don't remember what it's called, but I found another book by this author at the thrift store, and I picked it up because I was like, oh, I'm gonna read this other book I have, so I'll pick it up just in case I enjoy his writing. And now I'm glad I did, because I'm really excited to read that one as well. But yeah, strongly recommend this one. Um, as far as my Hunny bingo game, it's done now. I am gonna pull one more though, just to see if I can get that honey, and I'll just make the stipulation it won't be included in this video, but I'll make the stipulation that that has to be the first book I read. But we have several spots we can get a honey. Rows 4 and 5 we can get a honey. H1, um, N1 we can get a honey as well. And N11, and then N22 we can get a honey. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it. There's several spots, so I'm hoping, and I just want a honey before I finish this game. And like I said, it won't be included in this video because this video is going to go up tomorrow. You're going to be hopefully seeing it tomorrow. And so you'll have to wait till my July wrap up to see my thoughts on whatever book I choose for this. But let's go ahead and do this one here. I see a 4. Yes, so we got H4, and that gives us a honey on this row down here. And so we have here, and then we have BookTube TBR. And so for that, I'm gonna make it easy on myself. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the group read for Kim from Expedition Through Pages, her Tales from Two Trails game, because I know that's going to be on a lot of different booktubers TBRs, those of us that are on Team B and are doing the group read. So that is going to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, I want to say. I'll insert a picture here. And yeah, I have the audiobook for that, so that'll be handy because I can listen to it while I'm doing chores, and the month is switching over, so I'll get this video edited and up, and then I'll be working on my reading journal, so I'll be able to listen to it. And it's like 3 hours and something long, so that's perfect. So that's gonna be my choice for that, and I'm so happy we got a honey. We can end on a good note. And like I said, if you do want to know my thoughts on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you can definitely check out my July wrap up, which won't be up until August, obviously. But I did want to get a honey. I wanted a honey. And so, but I do want to get this video up tomorrow, so I can't include that in this video. But yeah, this was so much fun. I'm not gonna even grab them because this was a lot of books that we read. So let's see, we read 3, 6, 9, 13, 18 books for this game over the last couple weeks. And so yeah, it was a lot of reading, but we got all my TBR books done minus one, which is my genre-a-thon book. But that will be rolled over. That'll be one of the first books I pick up in July. So I'm not worried about that one, but we completed my game. I get a reward. And for getting a honey, I forgot to say, basically, which is going to be a little weird because My game I did from July to September, but basically one of those books does not have to count for me to get a reward. So if I'm short one book, I can still get a reward even though I don't read it, is what this gives me. So that will be helpful because I got some chunky ones over there, and it's a big TBR because it's all 3 months. But I'm also doing Orilium in August, and I want to mood read a lot in September because August, it's Orilium, and so I don't know what the prompts are yet, and I don't know if any of those books will fit them or not. And then September is my birthday month, and so I just want to have a little bit more freedom. But yeah, there's some chunky ones over there, so that will be a helpful reward to have. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I'm sure this video is extra long, so if you stuck around, thank you so much. If Please leave a comment below if you've read any of these, if you're interested in reading any of these, what's a book you just recently read that you really, really enjoyed. I would love to know that down in the comments below. If you don't know what to comment and you just want to show me you were here and help support the channel, you can always leave an emoji. A rabbit is the preferred one for this channel, but any animal or any emoji you would like is fine as well. And I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.